Good morning, everybody. It's Friday, September 6th, and this is the AgYield War Room. I'm Dan Dempsey, and I'll be moderating today's session. As always, if you've got any questions or comments, please feel free to drop us a line in the chat area, and we'll be sure to get to you during the show. Overnight markets here, December corn up 2 at 4.12 3/4. November soybeans were up 2.5 at 10.26, and December Chicago wheat was down 1/4 at 5.74.5. This morning, we had export sales. Solid really across the board. Corn 1.8 million for new crop. The high end of the estimates were looking for 1.4. Soybeans little over 1.6 million. Upper end of the range was 2 million, but that was still a solid number on the week. Wheat sales 340,000 as expected, and for meal 40,900 old crop, 434,700 new crop, which was at the upper end of the range for meal. This morning, we had August jobs report was out, came back less than expected, 142,000. They were looking for a number closer to 160, 165. Unemployment rate did tick slightly lower, however, to 4.2%. Yesterday morning, the USDA website had some technical difficulties, so there were a couple of sales announcements that weren't reported yesterday. 126,000 beans to China for 24, and 189,700 beans to unknown for 24. Good morning, guys. It's Friday. A little stronger markets overnight. Looking at weather this morning, some kind of conflicting patterns here for Brazil. GFS is calling for rain sort of in the southern portions of the country, and a pickup in kind of that third week of September, which would typically be a transitioning time frame into sort of a more wetter pattern for them. But it is going to be key on where the rain falls and when it comes. So Dustin, maybe a few thoughts here as we wrap up the week, and we'll throw around the room.
Thanks, Dan. Yeah, we, obviously the good sales, and, we've heard some anecdotal yield results that have been fairly favorable so far in Illinois. Maybe a little bit disappointing on the beans in some cases, but, the same thing over in Indiana. I heard some disappointing yield results for beans. So those will continue to flow in, and that's, again, very anecdotal. It's hard to get a big picture from this early stuff coming off. But we did have a pretty good dry down recently, and that should speed things up in a lot of areas. It comes down to me, I think, how much hasn't been sold that needs to be sold at harvest, because I think that's the big question for everybody. We obviously saw the very negative impact there at the end of August for what appeared to be a bunch of unsold bushels coming to market. And if there is a cash crunch and a supply glut, we could see a similar type pressure in the next couple of months. Anything that can't make its way into a bin or a bag, how likely is that to go onto DP, or how likely is that just going to be spot dumped? I think the later, right, as people got caught in DP contracts, and they're more likely to simply sell that contract and maybe go buy a call option or something. That's my guess of how fall corn bushels will be treated. The wind is kind of out of everyone's sails and trying to keep ownership. And if that's the case, I think that harvest pressure comes a little bit sooner than it did last year. It really took till the end of November before that paper contract started really weighing on the market on both spreads and flat price. So that's my guess. It's just, when does that show up? Because we're just starting harvest here. We're going to be watching a lot of those anecdotal reports. A lot of other favorable things happening behind that backdrop, but that's the main thing I'm concerned about.
Yeah, Ben, what's on your mind in the East here this morning?
We did have a little bit of rain roll through the northern part of Indiana. It was not great coverage, but where it rained well. We're definitely getting worse overall from dryness concerns. Basis still is very weak here. The worst part of, I think, one of the worst parts of the entire U.S. Ag Belt is Southern Ohio. That continues to be a problem. which has of great concern to to me here. Looking at charts that are that are really trying. Corn is above its 50-day. Soybeans are about a nickel away from its 50-day. Certainly, the corn rally has been fairly orderly, as has the soybean rally. It's 15 days to rally 75 cents. So it's been orderly. I'm interested to see if we get above that 50-day, if the bean market becomes disorderly. So
maybe talk a little bit deeper about what you mean by that, Ben.
So that's a great question, Dan. So let me clarify. Some of the big trend following funds, they put their positions on based on moving averages. They will exit their position based on moving averages. And we saw how violent the break was following the August WASDE. And they pounded into a position. They took over 7 sessions. They broke beans 80 cents. So it was like, we're going to get into this. And, is the potential there for them to exit in the same manner? So they get above there, and we've traded, quite a bit lower, I think, than even most people, maybe 80 cents to $1 lower than we're kind of looking at as a reasonable range going into this. So is there an absence of real offers to let them out? And when you have a short that's still as large as we was reported on Friday, they could run into a situation where it's really hard to find meaningful offers to exit that position. So, this goes back to the same dialogue that managed money has the same risks as everybody else. And, I would venture to say, pose the question is, are they wrong at this point, or are they gonna hang in here and try to keep this market below that 50-day? Because there's a lot of real estate between the 50 and the 100. It's about 70 cents. So while this has been a very orderly rally, it would be really kind of fun to see some disorder, I guess.
Sure. Justin, a few thoughts here to wrap up the week, put a bow on it.
Yeah, no, I agree with what Dustin and Ben have said. I mean, I don't think this is surprising. We kind of put a short-term low into kind of first notice day like we talked about, and there's been some short covering. It's been nice and orderly. It's kind of getting back to the moving averages. So, have we traded bearish enough fundamentals yet? And that's kind of my question in my head of, soybeans, I don't think is a good ending for putting these massive yields out. I guess we'll see. I'm not sure we're going to be, 2-3 bushels over a previous record without a lot of rain the last, call it 30 days. and we've broken demand, and we have a big fund short. So there's a lot of unknowns here, and we're starting to, like Ben said, we're starting to get to some of these moving averages. We're getting to the point where, anyone that's been short beans or has made a new short position in beans is down money, right? If you get another 30, 40, 50 cents higher, now you're 2 months underwater. So those are the kind of things that start to matter. If you're not getting paid to be short, you get out. Now you have a really good carry market, especially in beans still. So the market's paying you to be short and roll it. So if we start to see some of those things change, South America, I know we're kind of flip-flopping on weather models, but I kind of look at if the anecdotal evidence comes in and beans are disappointing, for example, and we're still doing business, and South America looks dry, I think you're going to create some nervousness in these markets. And the question also I have is, how much farmer selling did we see on this call it the last 30, 45 days? So a lot of times you see, growers that have to get out of their old crop position that they've been carrying, and they just get frustrated and sell new crop, and maybe even some 25, so, have we seen, Dustin asked this question. I think it's a good one. How much of that selling is going to have to happen off the combine? I think corn more so than beans. We'll see. I think we're going to see, we have tight storage space out in the East already, and we haven't started harvesting yet, really. So I think spreads, I think I'm more interested in kind of how spreads work, storage space, basis. I think those are real risks that we have the next 45 days, more so than necessarily flat price. But that's just my take on it right now.
No, very good. And what do you think? Things are drying down pretty good in Northern Illinois. So what do you think? Next couple of weeks, we probably.
I think next week we'll be rolling.
Yeah,
I think next week we'll see guys going.
Good.
Yeah, by end of next week for sure.
Well, weather looks perfect for it.
Yeah.
So it'll be nice, you know.
Yep.
Well, very good. Quickly here, Rylan, we'll cap off the week in livestock. Cash just never materialized like people were hoping. So what are your thoughts there?
Yeah, it was a little bit of a surprise. I think everybody was hoping to see just kind of steady trade, overall. But it seems like Packers were able to pick stuff up pretty cheap overall, or definitely below expectation. So we saw a lot of 181 in the South yesterday for live, 180, 182 in the North, 288 for dress. So about $2 lower from the previous week. So the market obviously was not prepared for that kind of sentiment. So everything kind of sold off. I mean, the hogs sold off as well. I don't know if that had to do with the cattle per se, but I think they're dealing with their own problems. But it just kind of feels like, the post Labor Day buy is kind of over. I think you had a lot of guys really hoping that it was going to last a little bit longer here, but still, you had a kind of a poor technical close in both places. You closed below the 10-day, really kind of started to see like, some technical follow through, especially in the hog market. It's kind of second day down. You're still at pretty good levels. You've just gotten a lot of bad news over the past couple of days. So just overall, I think we're kind of limping into the weekend here, hoping that maybe Monday we can kind of stabilize things. But otherwise, we're going to try to kind of digest some of the negative news and negative technical momentum. And maybe we can find some support here today.
Very good. It's Friday. Most exciting day of the week for us. It's Fun Fact Friday with Brian Williams. What do you got for us, buddy?
Thanks, Dan. Happy Friday, everybody. Well, it's official, baby. The NFL is back. And if last night's game is a precursor of what we're in store for, it's going to be an amazing season. So I was looking up some facts about the NFL and came up with some weird ones here. You didn't have to wear a helmet until 1943. And just thinking of that, my head hurts. And speaking of 1943, quarterback Sammy Baugh for Washington in one game as a quarterback threw 4 touchdown passes. He kicked an 81-yard punt, and he intercepted 4 passes as a DB. And those poor Lions that they beat 42-20 have to still be reeling on that one. So pretty amazing game. Lastly, our beloved Bears are the only team that has never had a 4,000-yard passer until this year. My nephew, Caleb Williams, my nephew, is going to take care of that, and we're going to be Super Bowl Super Bears. So,
all right, let's go Bears.
Yep.
Your nephew was Caleb Williams.
That's also is that a fun fact?
Yeah, right. Yeah, payday's coming, baby.
Yeah.
It's so funny for the first time, Brian. I just kind of felt like what the Cub fans feel like every year. Like this is our year,
Right.
Like I just felt that. So
every year.
So it should be good.
Yes.
Hope everybody enjoys football. We got full slate of college, full slate of NFL. It's gonna be great. On top of good weather. So with that, we will wrap the week. We appreciate everybody that tunes in on a daily basis. We have a lot of fun doing the show. Throw us a like or subscribe. Doesn't cost you anything to do so. Keeps you up to speed on everything AgYield, opens up that premium content for you. So like I said, doesn't cost a dime. Throw us a like or subscribe if you will. Certainly helps us out a lot. We are streaming live every day at 8:15 Central Standard Time. The markets are open on X, Facebook Live, and YouTube Live. Hope everybody has a great weekend. We look forward to talking to you again next week.
Thanks, Dan.
The War Room is proudly presented by AgYield. For over 50 years, the AgYield team has provided grain marketing and risk management solutions for growers across the country. Our veteran consultants harness cutting-edge technologies to pinpoint risk, optimize market performance, and protect your farm's profitability. Discover a new approach to farm revenue management at agyield.com.
Hey guys, Jack here. Be sure to support the show by hitting the like button, leaving us a comment, and subscribing to the channel for all the latest updates. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.